What really makes a leader, truly impactful, especially in tech, right? It's high stakes, can be pretty cutthroat. Is it just a strategy, execution, or maybe
Yeah.
something else, something surprisingly human? Today, we're doing a deep dive into the philosophy of Bill Campbell. You've probably heard the name the $1 trillion coach.
That's right. An incredible figure.
Yeah, his influence, often quiet behind the scenes, shaped giants. We're talking Steve Jobs, Eric Schmidt, the Google founders, just huge names.
Unbelievable impact, really.
So our guide here is the book $1 trillion Coach: Leadership Principles for Tech Giants. It really tries to bottle his unique, very human-first
It
approach.
does a great job capturing it.
And our mission really is to unpack the core ideas that helped build these, $1 trillion companies, but also how these principles aren't just for tech titans. They're for anyone looking to lead better,
Absolutely. It's surprisingly universal.
especially for maybe a US or Western audience where his style might seem, well, a bit different at first. That human first thing.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because tech is all about disruption, speed, innovation. But Campbell's stuff, it's grounded in fundamental human connection, almost traditional in a way.
Yeah, cuts through the buzzwords.
Exactly. Gets right to what actually motivates people to, bring their best.
Okay, let's dive right in then. The book kicks off with this really core belief of his. Your title makes you a manager. Your people make you a leader.
hmm That distinction is key.
It really shifts the focus, doesn't it? Away from just hierarchy.
It totally does.
Hmm.
Bill believed, and this is kind of counterintuitive for a lot of business thinking, which is so metrics focused that you win through your people, not like despite them.
Right, not just resources to be managed.
Precisely. His first rule, the absolute bedrock, was building trust, genuinely caring. Then, once that connection, that safety was there, then you could push for results, push hard.
So it's like an inverted pyramid compared to usual. Performance first, then maybe think about the people.
Exactly. He flipped it. People first, deep trust first. The performance follows from that foundation. There's this great story in the book about him walking into a Google executive meeting.
Yeah.
Super high-powered room, intense focus.
Yeah, I can picture it.
And instead of jumping straight into strategy or metrics or problems, he'd start by asking how people were doing personally.
Wow.
Like, how's your weekend? How's the family? That kind of thing. And it wasn't just, idle chit-chat.
No, it sounds intentional.
Totally.
Yeah.
It was revolutionary for those leaders. It signaled, I see you as a whole person, not just your job title. It fundamentally changed the vibe in the room. Built connection right away.
Yeah, it's disarming, isn't it? In a good way. Especially in that kind of pressure cooker environment, it makes you stop and think, doesn't it? How often is that genuine personal check-in prioritized where we work? Not just like a line in an email, but really asking.
It's rare. Often
Ah.
feels like an afterthought, if it happens at all.
Okay, so that leads us right into maybe his boldest idea, the one that makes people sort of raise an eyebrow. Leadership is love.
Yes. That one gets reactions.
Right. Using the word love in a corporate setting, especially maybe in Western business culture, it feels unusual, maybe even, I don't know, a bit risky, vulnerable.
It can seem that way, uncomfortable even.
Mhm.
But for Bill, it was fundamental, non-negotiable.
So why? Why lean into that word? And what did it actually look like day to day?
Well, he wasn't afraid of the emotion. He embraced it. He'd literally hug people. He knew their families, their kids' names. He celebrated the wins, big and small, personal and professional. He showed up when things were tough, mourned losses with them.
It wasn't just talk.
Not at all. It was real emotional investment. And look, that investment, it built incredible loyalty, fierce loyalty. And that loyalty translated directly into performance. People would run through walls for him because they knew he genuinely cared.
So the love wasn't soft, it was actually strategic, a driver.
Absolutely. It was the ultimate competitive edge, he believed. It allowed him to be tough, to push people really hard, because they knew that fundamentally it came from a place of wanting them to succeed. And this care for the individual, it naturally flowed into how he thought about teams. He famously said, the team is the most important product.
Right. Not just a collection of individuals.
Exactly. It wasn't just a slogan. It was how he operated. He saw that even the brightest star can only do so much alone. Real breakthroughs, real scale comes from a team firing on all cylinders.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting for a lot of places, right? Especially companies that tend to worship the lone genius, the rock star developer or whatever.
The hero culture.
Yeah. So what does it actually mean to put the team's health above individual brilliance. How do you do that without, squashing talent?
It's about creating an environment where the collective mission wins out over individual ego, where that brilliance gets channeled for the team, not just for personal glory.
Easier said than done, though.
Oh, absolutely. He coached CEOs constantly on this. How to resolve conflicts, get everyone aligned, stamp out the political games that kill teams.
The infighting.
Yeah, exactly. His goal was psychological safety, creating a space where people felt safe enough to argue, to challenge ideas, even challenge him or the CEO. Have those tough debates openly.
But then what? After the debate?
Then, critically, once a decision was made, everyone committed, fully. No undermining, no passive resistance. Debate, decide, commit. That was the model. The strength was in the unit, in that shared trust.
That's a huge shift. Feels like the biggest hurdle is moving from just celebrating the star player to really nurturing the whole team dynamic.
It is. It requires constant attention from leadership.
And for us as individuals on a team, what does that kind of environment feel like? That psychological safety. It means you can bring your half-baked ideas, right, without fear of being shut down immediately.
Precisely.
Right?
You can be vulnerable, take risks, admit mistakes, learn. That's where real innovation happens.
Okay, so he builds this foundation of trust, of safety, of love. How did he then actually coach these leaders, help them grow and implement change? Let's talk about communication. He was big on listening, wasn't he?
Huge. He had this great line, most managers don't listen, they wait to talk.
Huh. That rings true for a lot of meetings.
Doesn't it? Bill practiced disciplined listening. He'd really focus, try to understand the other person's perspective, even if they were rambling or he disagreed. He wouldn't interrupt with his solution.
That takes serious restraint.
It does. His rule was only give feedback after the other person feels truly heard and understood. That way, the feedback actually lands. They're receptive because they feel respected, not attacked.
It lowers the defenses.
Exactly. Opens the door for actual reflection.
Hmm.
And this listening informed who he even chose to spend his energy on. He believed in coach the coachable, meaning he knew he couldn't force anyone to change or grow. So he focused his time on people who genuinely wanted to get better, even if they're difficult or, super brilliant and maybe a bit stubborn. He looked for that openness, that hunger.
So coachable doesn't mean easy.
Not at all. It wasn't about agreement. It was about being willing to take feedback without getting defensive. Being open to looking in the mirror, having that desire to improve. There's this amazing story in the book, a flashback, where he actually refused to coach some super successful executive.
Really? Why?
Because despite all the success, Bill's assessment was blunt.
Yeah.
He didn't want to get better. Campbell knew it would be a waste of his time and energy if that core desire wasn't there. He wasn't a fixer for people who didn't see a need to evolve.
Okay, that makes sense for one-on-one, but what about the really tough stuff? Conflict. Because that's where most managers, frankly, screw up or just avoid it altogether.
Right. If you're building all this trust, how do you deliver hard truths?
Exactly. Especially with brilliant, maybe slightly arrogant people at places like Google. How did he handle that?
He was all about what he called courageous conversations. He actively coached executives not to avoid conflict, but to face it directly. He believed that unspoken issues, they fester. They destroy trust faster than anything.
So sort of run towards the fire, basically.
Sort of, but with skill. His method was about facilitating those tough talks with both empathy and firmness. You had to care about the person, but you also had to address the issue squarely.
Truth builds trust, even uncomfortable truth.
That was his mantra. Truth builds trust. He wouldn't let people leave a room until the issue was actually aired, understood, and there was a path forward, sweeping things under the rug. He saw that as the ultimate disrespect. It killed the trust he worked so hard to build.
That requires serious skill from the leader, the facilitator, and guts.
Absolutely.
Makes you think about your own approach, doesn't it? Do you lean into those difficult conversations with that mix of care and clarity? Or do you, kind of skirt around them?
We all avoid them sometimes. It's human. But his point was, it comes at a cost.
Let's shift gears slightly to the practical side. Beyond the coaching, how did he structure things, like meetings? How did he make meetings actually matter? The book mentions a kind of surprising way he started them.
Yeah, it's great. So forget diving straight into the agenda or the crisis of the day. Bill often started meetings with trip reports.
Trip reports, like vacation photos?
Almost. He'd have team members share personal updates, what they did over the weekend, how their vacation was, something non-work related.
In a high-level exec meeting.
Yep. Imagine Eric Schmidt asking about someone's fishing trip before discussing quarterly earnings. But again, it wasn't just filler.
Right, there's a purpose.
The purpose was connection. That personal sharing builds trust, oils the gears for the tough work ahead. Then, after that connection point, they'd hit the agenda, using his framework. Debate openly, decide together, commit fully.
Debate, decide, commit, simple but powerful.
Very. And while he cared deeply about the people side, the relationships, he also believed in work the details. He wasn't just about feelings. He'd get into the weeds.
Oh, so.
He'd help execs rethink org charts, look closely at compensation plans to make sure they actually rewarded teamwork, not just individual stats. He'd even weigh in on hiring decisions, looking beyond skills to assess, like genuine collaborative spirit.
So, making sure the systems supported the values.
Exactly. The mechanics had to align with the philosophy. It wasn't just talk.
And feedback. We hear feedback is a gift all the time, but it often feels more like a critique. How was his approach different?
It was a gift, the way he did it.
Yeah.
Because it was delivered with such care and precision. His rule was simple. Praise publicly, coach privately.
Ah, okay.
And all feedback was contextualized. It was about helping that specific person achieve their goals, grow in their role. Never about tearing them down or making them feel small. The goal was always development, not judgment. He felt if you genuinely cared, you owed them the truth, delivered constructively.
That makes sense. It changes the whole intent.
Completely.
Which brings us to maybe his most famous rule. The simplest, but maybe the hardest to enforce consistently. Don't be a jerk.
The no asshole rule, basically.
How fundamental was that? Especially in tech, where sometimes, let's be honest, difficult geniuses get a pass.
For Bill, it was non-negotiable, foundational. Didn't matter how smart you were, how much you delivered. If you were toxic, disrespectful, ego-driven in a destructive way, you were out. Or you wouldn't get in.
But he could be tough himself, right? It wasn't about just being nice.
Oh, he was incredibly direct, tough when needed. The jerk thing wasn't about disagreeing or pushing back. It was about malice, about undermining others, about making it all about yourself. He demanded humility, kindness, mutual respect. He knew one toxic person could crater an entire team's performance and morale.
Yeah, faster than any competitor could.
Exactly. And this ties right into another key principle. Serve the mission, not the ego. Bill himself was the prime example.
Also,
his ego was just absent from the equation. He never seemed to seek the spotlight, never grab credit. He worked behind the scenes building these incredible leaders and companies. His focus was always on their mission, their success.
His win was their win.
Completely. He stayed in the background while giants were being built. The book ends with this really powerful image, At Steve Jobs' memorial service, Bill Campbell wasn't up on stage giving a big speech. He was there. Quietly.
Yeah.
But basically, every single major leader in that room, from Jobs himself to Schmidt and countless others, they had all been coached, mentored, shaped by him. His legacy wasn't his own fame. It was in their collective achievement.
Wow. That's quite a testament, isn't it? A different kind of power. It really makes you reflect personally, what kind of leader do I want to be?
Yeah.
And what are my non-negotiables? What values will I absolutely not compromise on, even when the pressure's on or there's a brilliant jerk tempting you?
It's a crucial question. So if we try to boil down Campbell's wisdom, especially for leaders, for creators, anyone trying to build something today, I think three things really stand out.
Okay.
First, people first. Always. Products, companies, whatever you're building, it's built by teams. Thriving teams, not lone geniuses in a vacuum.
Yeah, people first.
Second, culture IS strategy. That environment he built, trust, safety, yes, even love. It's not just nice to have, it is the engine of high performance. It's strategic.
Culture as the operating system.
You could say that.
Yeah.
And finally, coach with empathy. Meet people where they are. Understand them first, then help them grow. Guide them, don't just command them.
People first, culture is strategy, coach with empathy.
Those are the pillars.
Yeah.
And look, this isn't just some esoteric Silicon Valley thing. These are timeless ideas. They apply anywhere you have people working together towards a goal, any team, any organization.
That's a really powerful takeaway. So here's maybe the final thought for everyone listening. If embracing vulnerability, that genuine connection, those courageous conversations, if that's what builds trillion-dollar legacies, what's one small thing, just one step you could take this week to bring a little more of that love, or maybe just one courageous conversation into your own team, your own work, your own relationships?
That's the challenge.
Something to think about as you go out and lead or create or just collaborate today.